Hello and welcome to all of our Gold viewers who are here with us today. I'm Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and one of the MCs here at Gold. And I have a special guest with me here today. I'm chatting today with Dr. Bobbi Pineda. Hi, Bobbi. It's so good to have you here with us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So you are part of our Gold Neonatal online conference. You have a presentation planned for us titled Parent-Driven Sensory Exposures in the NICU, the Development and Impact of the SENSE program. I'm very curious about the SENSE program. But before we go into that, tell us a little bit about, first of all, where in the world are you? And tell me a little bit about your professional background.
Sure. So I live in Los Angeles, California. I work for University of Southern California. And a little bit about my professional background. So I'm an occupational therapist by training. I became an OT in 1992. But things changed a little bit for me when my first child, who was a boy, was born in 1998, and he was born at 29 weeks estimated gestational age. And so he was in the NICU for 5 weeks. And having that experience as a parent really pivoted me to wanting to do research. And so at that point, I went back and I got my PhD, and I've been just doing clinical research in the NICU for about the last 17 years since I got my PhD.
Wonderful. And that's absolutely fabulous. And I know you will be presenting on that here with us at Gold. Your special interest is sensory exposures in the NICU. Can you tell us a little bit more what that is and you know what you are involved in?
Yes, certainly. So yes, my research focuses on the early sensory environment.
Hmm.
We do know that early sensory experiences are really important and pivotal for early brain development. Parents play an important role too in the sensory exposures that their babies get. And so I really study that landscape. So looking at the appropriate types and amounts of different sensory exposures that can help to optimize development of the developing baby.
So what would that entail? Give me a little example. You mentioned parents. How do you integrate the parents and what would that look like in practice?
Yeah, so parents are the best tools to provide sensory exposures to their babies. It also is a great opportunity to really build that foundation of the parent-child relationship if they can actually do the sensory exposures themselves. But we've spent really the last 10-ish years studying early sensory exposures that relate to better outcomes. And we've basically taken all of that evidence and then packaged it in an easy to understand framework that parents can
Mhm.
kind of pick up, know exactly what to do every day, and know how much of it to do. To really kind of equip them to be able to provide those positive sensory exposures. And so that's what I'll be talking about. It's all
Oh,
packaged into the Sense program.
wonderful. Yeah, so the parents actually get some, guidelines in a package basically so they know exactly what is the right amount. Because that was actually my next question is, I mean, all these little ones are different developmental stages, right? I mean, so is it by week, gestational week, or depending on what else is going on with the baby?
Yes, so to your point, what's appropriate for a baby that's at 24 weeks postmenstrual age is very different than when they get closer to term equivalent age and are ready
Right.
for discharge. And so it packages all the evidence that's been done across different
Hmm.
postmenstrual ages and tailors it really based on the developmental stage that the baby's in. There are also adaptations that can be made in context. And so if a baby's on high frequency oscillation versus
Hmm.
over a mare, there's different things based on kind of policies and procedures within a given NICU that dictate the types of
Hmm.
sensory exposures. So it gives kind of guidance and tools and choices to be able to still provide positive sensory exposures within the medical context.
Oh, fantastic. I love that. And I love that the parents have that because for them, for parent, you have been a NICU parent. I can only imagine how that stressful that is and difficult that is. And so you're giving basically parents a tool to parent, right? The little ones, because it feels like often for the NICU parent, it feels like it's not their baby. It's like nurses taking care of the baby, the doctors, the staff, and they are like there and they want to they want the best for their baby and they want to be parents and they want to be with their baby. So that gives them kind of tools so that they can do that, right?
Yeah, so definitely. It really helps to facilitate them being able to fulfill their role as a parent. And, the things that we've heard so far is that parents really appreciate having very specific guidance because it can
Hmm.
feel very disempowering to have a baby in the NICU and not really know
Hmm.
what to do. Each hospital is different in terms of the types of support that they provide to families too and guidance.
Yeah.
But the Sense program really helps to kind of, I don't know, give them a little bit of boost of confidence in terms of what
Confidence.
things are appropriate so that they can
Yeah.
advocate for getting the assistance that they need so that they can engage with their baby.
Has your program been rolled out in many hospitals and locations so far? I mean, it sounds wonderful. I feel like everybody should have it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've been so amazed at the amount of support and confidence within the program.
Hmm.
So far, there's more than 500 hospitals within the United States and abroad
Oh,
that have
wonderful.
purchased it. And I wouldn't say that implementation just happens right after, they get the license to do it. But usually it's a process. So kind of like that initial getting the sense program then leads into action items. And so care
Hmm.
starts to change right away. And then usually hospitals continue to build on that to sort of get to an ultimate end goal down the road.
So the staff is being trained in the program into how to, share that with the families then, or how does that work?
So we developed the program so it really can just be picked up and
Okay. Okay.
implemented. However, a lot of people do want training, so we
Hmm.
started offering training as well. But I think, there's different avenues that people go based on what their needs are to be able to
Hmm.
implement.
Wonderful, fantastic. So I can't wait for this presentation. It sounds absolutely fabulous, and the more people learn about it, the more it gets picked up, and helps parents to really have that boost of confidence and be with their baby. Before I let you go, Bobbi, any final words for our audience? What are you hoping the audience will take away from your presentation?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think more than anything, I really would hope for a focus on the early sensory environment. So
Hmm.
maybe sometimes within neonatal intensive care, because there's so much going on medically, we have very much focus on the medical environment and what needs to happen, which is really, really important. But most of those babies are there for months, if they're
Yeah.
born extremely low birth weight or even very low birth weight. And so if we can really focus on the early sensory environment in tandem with a medical environment,
Hmm.
we can really help to optimize early development. And so
Hmm.
maybe that's my hope is for someone to have some takeaway from it that makes them then be able to implement appropriate positive sensory exposures for babies in the NICU.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Bobbi Pineda, to being here with me today, talking about the wonderful work you do and talking about the SENSE program. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now some information for the audience. If you're interested in this presentation, the parent-driven sensory exposures in the NICU, the development and impact of the SENSE program, and you want to learn also about all the other presentations in the conference, and we'll get started just around the corner on June 3rd with our free and open access keynote presentation. So I would like to invite you to go to goldneonatal.com to find out more, and I hope to see everyone at the conference. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye.